do want to pop their heads out the window here. As the brighter side of the moon here gets dimmer and dimmer, the red color that we were talking about earlier is definitely getting much stronger now. So I may actually adjust my image as well in a few moments to see if I can pick some of that up. But definitely worth, if you're close to a window, putting your head outside and taking a look, and then coming back to the live stream for more information.
Yeah.
Thank you. You do my job here, Gary. This is awesome. We will be back soon. Pop your head out the window if you're near the eclipse. If not, go to timeanddebt.live and check out our info there. And we'll see you back soon.
Do you ever feel like you need some extra protection from negative entities or energies that might be doing malicious things to you? Here are the top 5 things you can do to protect yourself from unwanted, dark, or negative encounters. Number 1. Meditation.
Hi and welcome back. I hope everybody took the opportunity of sticking their head out the window and seeing a red moon. We can see that Gary has adjusted his camera and we're looking at an awesome blood moon here. This is why they call it a blood moon, because it goes blood red, and it's quite interesting to look at the moon this way compared to the normal moon, the normal full moon that's white and bright. And then you've got this doom and gloom creepiness going on. But we know what's happening. It is the moon moving into Earth's shadow. It's the light bending and refracting and the red light scattering across the moon's surface.
Yes.
And we've got Waimea up there. They're also showing the redness. And we did have New York flying about up there in the right-hand corner of our screen, didn't we, Graham?
We did. So over in New York and also in Northern Ontario, we have our streaming partners there. In New York, we have Kat Troche at the Amateur Astronomers Association. She's on the roof of her apartment building in Queens, in New York. And this is the second time we've worked with Kat. And she had terrible luck the last time. We were working with her for the annular solar eclipse back in June, which was a very big partial sunrise eclipse from New York. She was completely clouded out with that. Tonight, she's up on her roof, and she did catch a fleeting image of the moon, which we did manage to get in the corner of our screen there for a short time. But we are still, fingers crossed, we are still hopeful that the clouds are going to clear up there. Also got to say that in Northern Ontario, we have our teams there working away, fighting the clouds. In North Bay, we've got our team at the North Bay Astronomy Club. We've got Bill Montague, we've got Dave Roscoe, we've got Randy Curry. Again, we're seeing sort of fleeting images of the moon from there. Again, fingers crossed that things are going to improve in North Bay. We also have our team in the nearby city of Sudbury.
120 kilometers away.
That's right. And similar story there, fighting against the clouds. We are hoping to talk very soon to Aletha McIntyre and the team in Sudbury, Northern Ontario. In the meantime, San Diego.
Look at this.
Yeah, beautiful image there, and a fabulous image coming from the Starry Nights.
We're only like 5 minutes away from the max. We've already said that this is quite gradual. This looks pretty perfect to me. So what can we see once we're near max? Now, this isn't a total lunar eclipse. This is almost total. So does that make it any different?
Yeah, so this is more or less the maximum point of the eclipse now. And we can see that nearly all of the moon has turned that reddish color. There is just that little sliver of the moon which is left untouched. And this is as far as this partial lunar eclipse goes. We don't quite get the whole moon covered by the dark umbral shadow of the Earth. There's just that little tiny sliver left uncovered.
It looks awesome, though. It doesn't matter, does it?
No, it looks it looks terrific there. Yes, it's the southern part of the moon which is staying uncovered. You can just see that this is the southern part of the moon. This is where there's that big crater. We can see the Tycho crater, one of the most, well, probably the most prominent crater on the near side of the moon. So it's that southern edge of the moon is just staying uncovered during the maximum phase of this.
Gary's doing a great job of showing us the detail.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of the moon.
Yes,
So,
yes.
it's awesome. But there's something that we can look for still kind of around now. Do you think we're going to be able to see the turquoise band?
Right. Well, this is always one of the big challenges when we have a lunar eclipse that gets around totality. And we're not quite at totality here, but we are very close to totality, because we've been talking a lot about the red color of a lunar eclipse, and we can see it so clearly on this image here. There is another color that can appear close to totality during a lunar eclipse, and that, as you say, is a turquoise color. You were explaining earlier, Anna, that the Earth's dark shadow has got this reddish tint because the blue is being filtered out by Earth's atmosphere. If we look at the very edge of the Earth's atmosphere, where the ozone layer is, this has a different composition, and this filters light in a different way. The very edge of the Earth's atmosphere actually filters out the red and turns the light a blue turquoise color. So as the moon is moving through that very outer part of the Earth's dark shadow, you can sometimes see a bluish, turquoise-ish band moving across the moon. If you see it, it's normally around when totality begins. So somewhere around now, we may or may.
But this isn't totality, right? So we've got.
So we're very close to totality, but we're not quite at totality. It's always a challenge to see the turquoise band.
Have you ever seen one?
I've seen it in photos, but never seen it directly. It is difficult. The conditions have to be really good to see it. We may get a hint of it tonight. In fact, we have a diagram in the top right corner of our screen, which shows us what is happening. In fact, this tells the story of the eclipse so far. Yes. So here we've got this sequence of 4 diagrams which show the Earth's 2 shadows. There's that light grayish outer shadow, the penumbra, and then there's that darker inner reddish shadow, the umbra. And between those 2 shadows in this diagram, we have put that very sort of faint turquoise band around the edge of the umbra. So this eclipse started about 3 hours ago, when the moon began to move into the Earth's penumbra. The partial phase started about an hour and 40 minutes ago, when the edge of the moon first entered the umbral shadow. For the last hour and 40 minutes, the moon has been moving deeper and deeper into that reddish shadow until we get to our final image there, the partial max, really where we are right now. This is the maximum point. Nearly all of the moon inside that reddish shadow, except that little
sliver.
Exactly.
An annoying little sliver, I feel, but I'm trying to focus on this beautiful image of the moon instead, because I just want it to be perfect, right? But there's a number under there, and it says 0.97. We've been saying a lot of 99%, 99%, 99.1%, but this is a different number.
Right. There are 2 ways to measure how deep an eclipse is. The number we've been using, 99.1%, that is the obscuration of the moon. We're talking there about how much of the moon's area is covered by the Earth's dark shadow. And that number is 99.1%. There is another way of measuring how deep an eclipse is, and that is the magnitude. And there, instead of looking at how much of the moon's area is covered by the Earth's shadow, you look at how much of the moon's diameter is covered by the Earth's shadow. And that number, magnitude, is normally given as a decimal fraction, and that comes out at 0.97. So magnitude and obscuration, the two numbers are always
Close.
very similar, but there are slight differences because one is measuring how much of the moon's area is covered, the other, the magnitude, measuring how much of the moon's diameter is covered.
We decided to use the obscuration because it sounds more impressive, and it feels more like an intuitive, easy way to understand how much of the moon is covered, right?
Right. Normally, obscuration traditionally is only quoted for solar eclipses, where it measures the percentage of the solar disk that is covered by the moon. Traditionally, for lunar eclipses, only magnitude is quoted. But as you say, I mean, we think it makes a lot of sense to talk about the percentage of the area that's covered. So at time and date, we also give the obscuration as a percentage.
And we're looking at this beautiful image, and we're officially past max. I didn't see any kind of turquoise band going on.
No.
So this is it. Sounds really bad because it's not, because this is gorgeous.
This is spectacular, but yes, we are now into the second half of this eclipse. Another reminder that this is the longest partial eclipse in a period of 1,200 years, 6 hours and 2 minutes. But yeah, we've passed the midway point. The moon from this point onwards will be starting to get brighter. The dark shadow will start to move off the face of the moon. Again, it's all happening very slowly. This is going to be happening over the course of the next 1 hour and 40 minutes.
And the micromoon is out there. It's flying further out than it normally does. It's flying slowly. It doesn't fly, but it orbits, but same thing. And it's moving along there, and it's moving slowly. And how is this different from the eclipse we had in May, the total eclipse? Because I don't really see that many visual differences. I'm looking at this bright red moon, or rusty red moon, and we were looking at a fairly similar moon in May.
This looks incredibly similar to the total lunar eclipse we saw in May. That was the May total lunar eclipse was only just a lunar eclipse. The magnitude of that eclipse was just a fraction more than 1, which means that the moon just completely moved within the Earth's umbra. Here, the magnitude is just a fraction less than 1. So there's just that little bit of the moon outside the Earth's umbra. But as you said, it looks very similar. The edge of the Earth's shadow is not a very clear, distinct line. This is coming through the Earth's atmosphere, which is a very fuzzy thing. So the edge of the shadow is not a very sharp line. So to say exactly when a partial phase ends and when a total phase begins, it's actually impossible to be completely specific about that. And it's a very fuzzy edge of the shadow that we see on the moon. So the May only just total eclipse and this November almost total lunar eclipse, they do look very much the same.
If you do like Gary and you look up at the sky, you're going to see the same moon, right?
Exactly, yes.
We're going to leave you here and take a little break, but we will be back. We're hoping to talk to Olathe McIntyre in Sudbury at the Science North Centre there. So we need to catch up with her now in the break and figure out how we're going to do this. And but we will be back. And while we're back, check timeofdead.live. You can read more about the eclipse. You can read about Olathe. You can read about Gary. You can read about Dave. You can read about the Starry Nights. You can read about Kat in New York. There's so many lovely people that are working with us on this eclipse. So be sure to check that out and tune in with us soon.
Soaring prices, mass shortages. What's next? Hi, I'm Chris Hurt here, and if you're like most people, you may have noticed some strange things popping up in the news lately, because once again the word crisis is being thrown around, and yet this is unlike anything we have seen before. Major automakers from GM to Toyota are shutting down their factories. Analysts are warning that Christmas, as we know it, may not happen this year. And massive food distributor Cisco says it's going to have trouble stocking